The next topic is cyber defense and resiliency in modern AI era. For the same, I would request the moderator to join us on the stage, Mr. Benjamin Ambrose, Chief Information Security Officer, National Payments Corporation of India. Let's have a huge round of applause, everybody. And now, I would request the speakers to join on the stage, Dr. Deepak Kumar, Director, Institute for Development and Research in Banking Technology. Let's have a huge round of applause for Dr. Deepak Kumar. Professor G. Siva Kumar, Professor, Computer Science and Engineering Department, Indian Institute of Technology, Bombay. Let's have a huge round of applause for him. And Mr. Vinay Tiwari from CISO at Axis Bank. Let's have a huge round of applause. I would request the moderator to kindly begin the session.
Thank you. Welcome, everyone. I hope you all had a good lunch. I hope to make this session lively and not let you guys go into slumber. So when it comes to AI, right, a couple of years ago, I was working for a hyperscaler at the time. And many of the hyperscalers were betting big on AI, generative AI in particular. Right? So I used to wonder, whenever there is any hype about a particular topic, is this for real? Or is this, will this stay? Or is it just a hype? Right? So reflecting back, what comes to my mind is, what this revolution do to us, right? We are still in the very nascent stages of generative AI's evolution. Actually, what it did was, some big companies, big corporates, had always been leveraging AI, ML, and even generative AI for their internal purpose, right? And when OpenAI came up with these large language models and published it for everybody's use, even Aam Aadmi on road, right, can harness the power of LLMs, number one. And number two, for corporates across the globe, right, they had the power to leverage the data that they had in hand, right? Especially the big banks, financial institutions, global institutions, they had a lot of data, right? So, and they had a huge diverse workforce as well. How the conundrum was, how do we get our workforce use our own data, right? Since I also worked in a large MNC bank, that was the challenge. I can proudly now say that I can see the benefits of LLM. It's not a hype, it is here to stay, right? And we will be hearing more about the developments that are happening in this space going forward. So when it comes to cyber resiliency for AI, right? So I would like to categorize them into broadly two categories, right? One is AI for cyber. How can we leverage the power of AI to get the best out of the cybersecurity program and tools, processes that we have, right? Where AI can help. The second part is cyber for AI. How do we secure the plethora of business cases, use cases that various departments in our corporates are coming up with, right? So, for example, legal department is very eager to use LLMs, right? Even HR organizations want to use, right? So, non-traditionally, these departments were not tech savvy in the past, but they've shown a lot of enthusiasm, and that encourages us to dive deep into those use cases and see how we can secure those use cases, right? So these are the two broad topics that we will cover today in our panel discussion. So I have an esteemed list of panelists along with me. So together our experience will be close to 100 years, I believe, right? Given that everybody has 25 plus years of, don't look at my grade. 25 years of experience that we have, right? So we have a mix of panelists from the corporate world. Vinay works for Axis Bank. Professor is a very renowned professor from IIT Bombay, and Deepak sir is from IDRBT, right? So we have a good mix of panelists here. So on behalf of you, I'll try to get the best out of them. And we'll also try to see if we can engage the audience by allowing you to ask a question or two towards the end, right? If we don't run out of time. So without further ado, I would like to start with my first question. Possibly this is to Professor, and then Vinay, I'll come over to you. Right? If I look at AI ML, it has always been in the cyberspace, right? Especially with SIEMs and the UEBA type of tools, right? And the heuristics that the antivirus vendors and the EDR vendors have played on, right? It involves a lot of AI and ML. So what are your thoughts on the Gen AI bandwagon that is happening now, and where do you see it evolving from your perspective?
Thank you, Ben, and good afternoon to everybody, and pleasure to be here and participate in this very interesting topic. I think rephrasing what Ben asked, he's asking, is it old wine in a new bottle? So I'm not an expert on the wine part, but many friends of mine tell me that older the wine, the better. It tastes better. I don't know why. It's not because of the new bottle. It is because the wine has aged, the wine has become more, whatever you guys are experts. I'll stop that analogy further. AI is like that. Or maybe another one which is easier to understand. Shakespeare wrote about Cleopatra. Age has not withered her, nor customs trailed her infinite variety. So AI is coming up. AI has matured a lot. And this is why we are now, as you know, in every sector, including security, AI is going to play a role, and that's what in the next half an hour we would like to bring out. So I'll start with, again, two different domains to say how I would picture AI in security. So first let us start with health. Suppose our goal is not security assurance, which is what CISOs are supposed to do for their organizations. Assure the organization that everything is safe, it is trustworthy, nothing bad. So same analogy if you have to do as a medicine, doctor. So what I would say is what you were calling AI already was there. Hygiene, live in a clean place, non-polluted place. Medicines, when you are sick, go to a doctor. This is all AI before Gen AI and recent one. What I would, again, loosely try to give the analogy, and I'll justify as we go further, is we are leaving out exercise and meditation. They are not opposed to hygiene and medicines, but they have a very valuable role to play. And AI, Gen AI especially, is going to, in the red teaming or in the continuous threat evaluation, we'll go deeper as we go along. AI has a role to play in strengthening your defense against illness. And this is, we will cover. Meditation is the other thing. There is no generic medicine. I mean, there is. That's how earlier we were treating. Now everything is customized. Personalized medicine, you might have heard. So as every organization is going to have a different threat perception, threat matrix, and customizing everything to that organization is another thing that AI can do very well. So this is an analogy from health. Similarly, if you take this in the education domain, textbooks and professors only half the job. Okay, so unless you are practicing it, then you don't become a good student. Knowledge cannot transform to wisdom unless you have experience and unless you have collaboration. Now, in the later, we can talk about this. In security, cyber security, attackers have a much better way to collaborate. Defenders don't have. AI is bridging that gap also. Federated learning, it is called. Ability to share knowledge among defenders in a much better and more effective way. So this is from the top level perspective of what AI has done. I will conclude by just going through that NIST framework for cyber security. In every place, Gen AI has made an impact. So there are 5 steps that they normally say. Discover your assets. Protect. So in protection, what was earlier static, rule-based, signature-based, malware detection, and so on. Of course, even earlier, they had ideas on what to do. But now, more effectively, the newer generation of malware which are self-evolving, which can adapt and so on and so forth, are to be discovered, you need AI, which is behavior anomaly and so on and so forth. So this is the third bullet in the NIST framework, detect. That something is wrong, you have to detect it. And detecting is not based only on when the fire starts burning. It is on early warning signals. And this is anomaly detection, behavior detection. So here AI has already made a huge impact, even before Gen AI. Then comes respond. So this is again, when something is happening, you have to minimize the damage. And how to playbooks are there, static playbooks are there, dashboards are there. AI is going to draw on, like you said in LLMs, a wealth of knowledge of what others have done, what is the most appropriate response for this particular situation. And then the last in the NIST framework is recover, which is assuming some calamity has happened and you have responded in the correct way, you still have to recover and go back to normal functioning. So for that also, AI has a way to, this part that we call resiliency, to make the system adapt and figure out and how to come back when some bad things happen. AI has a role to play. As we go along, we can expand more on this. But this is my initial answer.
Thank you, Professor. Vinay, you would like to top up?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, and good afternoon, everyone. So I completely agree. Actually, AI and ML were used in some shape and form, be it on SIEM, UBA, or even antivirus and other technologies, right? So it used to be isolated. So what I have observed, specifically when LLM and Gen AI came into picture, into discussions across systems, it was more of an, like sir talked about collaboration between human to machine. So basically asking machine to do something or get something out of machine as per our understanding and our requirements in a faster and speedy manner, right? So what has happened specifically in terms of change, which I have seen on ground in terms of, if we talk about SOC, Security Operations Center. So earlier it used to be rule-based, static, assessments or artificial intelligence or some way those intelligence were being used. Now it's more of an adaptive. So when I say adaptive, it's more of a context-aware information which we are asking for or integration which we are asking for. On basis of that, we want to take certain decisions and run the show. Most important thing is how we are communicating with those systems, whether those are integrated, whether everyone is talking in the same language and giving me an output which is required, right, in a short time of manner. And so once this phase, so I still feel adaptive phase is still on. So in fact, I foresee autonomous also coming into picture in near time. So we cannot ignore impact of AI, be it on SOC or from cyber security point of view or cyber security operations point of view, be it governance, be it cyber defense, even engineering, legal, right? So there are a lot of areas wherein adoption of AI will have larger impact, and of course there are some drawbacks as well, which we may discuss further. But yes, so it has transferred or traveled a certain journey. Okay, so I'm foreseeing a lot of happening, a lot of initiatives on those front.
Just to put another aspect, because earlier this cyber security in any infrastructure was based on moat and castle theory. Moat and castle theory, and then came to zero trust architecture. Both theories today in context of Gen AI is nowhere existing. That has vanished. Why it has vanished? Because whether it's JTA or moat and castle, it was based on identity. Who is entering, and based on authorization and authentication and authorization. That means once a malicious agent, or be it soft, be it live human being, they are considered to be safe. That's no more. Now, carry forward again, like IPDR2. IPDR2 is again famous thing. There I always say that IPDR2 for India, it is not relevant. Because that's the NIST framework has been framed for developed country where maturity level of cybersecurity, infrastructure, communication, network, very high. We may be #1 in payment, but in maturity of complete IT infrastructure, we are nowhere. So there we have to add, and that has been further strengthened with GenAI, analyze and predict before discover or identify. And there is the main congruence or convergence of AI and cybersecurity. Thank you.
Very well said. While Professor spoke about protection, prevention and detection, right? You are also talking about prediction, right? This is an area where I see AI can help, right? Even with the smallest breadcrumbs that it can see, it can give us some valuable insights for us to react. So switching gears, I would switch now towards cyber for AI, right? There are a lot of use cases that are coming up from different departments, especially in organizations like ours, right? A lot of departments want to dabble their foot with Gen AI, right? So they want LLMs that are tailored for their particular line of business, right? So for example, people are talking about payments LLM, right? An LLM that focuses on laws and regulations, right? So how, as a practitioner, cybersecurity practitioner, right? What are some of the tips that you would give us when such use cases are presented to us? Because there is no framework at this point of time or standard set of questionnaire that we typically use to do information security risk assessment that is not available readily at hand, right? So what are some of the tips that you would give us, Deepak sir, if you may answer?
Yeah, thank you. Contextualizing this framework or absence or presence of framework, right? Recently, RBI has come out with free AI. That means framework for regulation of responsible and ethical enablement for AI. That's not a prescription. That's primarily analysis, creation of infrastructure, and creating environment for meditation, as Professor has said. So it's not giving the prescriptive guideline for what to do, but it's giving general guideline, because today, I always say, security for AI, by AI, with AI. So security for AI is becoming today very important, because AI model, LLM or SLM, how it is developed. So there again, when I break down this LLM or SLM, there are primarily three vulnerable portions we can divide. Again, more academically it can be done, but data, model, and runtime control. Whether we have complete control on data, model, and runtime control to see that there is no biasness, there is no black box, that means there is no adversarial reaction, and what is the explainability at all the three levels. Because we have to see the ethical bias and the vulnerable section of the population, whether in banking or whether in production. Recently, one of the major company of the world in automobile sector is down for more than a year. Production is down. The public domain knowledge says that it is data breach. No. Data breach, because its impact, why I'm giving this, because impact of this level of breach in with the data, model, and runtime control. So IT has affected the OT. That's why even production is down for more than a month. So the impact has increased widely. Maersk, again, largest distribution company, they could restore when this, their log4j, I think, had hit there. Within 11 days, and there every 15 minutes, a load ship of container passes. So if that was possible, if they can do bring up the operation within 48 hours. What has happened now? Because the capacity of analyzing the data, corrupting the model, or corrupting the runtime control has become very vulnerable and very high. So we have to look for how to manage these things like SIM, SOAR, or UEVA. Again, I will say that this is based on certain trained data. Every environment has to see their own log, analyze as per their vulnerability, be it not only technological, but economical, political, international. Today it has become very important because the earlier defense approach of protection has gone out. Now offensive thing has come. Defense or offense, there are many collaboration is happening globally, be it Europe or NIST standard. NIST has published nice framework for further collaboration. So all these things, how the wind is blowing, which direction he is blowing, we have to guess very fast because the development is exponential. They changing day by day, hour by hour. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I'll just add one example which may convey the whole thing, what you were saying about the runtime thing. A chatbot, many of us already have started deploying and using, where AI is there. So a company did that, and it was working fine, until one fine morning, it started spewing abusive words. Anybody comes and talks, and it started its own company. Because prompt engineering is one of the ways in which there are guardrails when you deploy AI solutions. And if you ask ChatGPT today how to make a bomb or how to kill somebody, it will not answer. Because you're asking in the wrong way. But if you are able to touch your nose like this, then you can break it. And this is a technique which people are learning, and that's one of the things. I just wanted to give that example. And if you want many more examples like this of actual incidents, there's a site, airisk.mit.edu, which is collecting all this and explaining in the recent past how AI has been broken and therefore the frameworks for protecting it. I just thought I'll add that.
Thank you, Professor. Vinay, would you like to answer from a corporate perspective, right? What are the types of use cases that you're seeing from the ground, and then how you are assessing them from a cyber risk perspective?
Sure. So actually, it's more of an enabling business or amplifying the capability of the products as well as amplifying the capability of people as well, right? So we are seeing a lot of changes, a lot of integration in terms of how to facilitate customers. When it comes to risk assessment per se, so there are certain adoption policies which we have already in place. And we have taken certain strategic call wherein we have defined a framework. So what can be done, what cannot be done. So 3 simple ideas actually. So as a risk professional, I can talk about. So first, one needs to see what kind of data that particular model is going to handle internally, whether those data are, of course, classified, sensitive, or not. Whether the same model is going to access the third-party data or the data which resides outside bank environment or even in third system, right? Third is whether that connection is allowed or monitored or restricted, how it is, what are the mechanisms which are there. So, because all 3 areas, right, if we are monitoring on a regular basis as well as ensuring at least the access controls around these data are adequate, right? So that will provide a certain level of assurance or monitoring mechanism on the data. Major challenge comes, which Sir talked about, data poisoning, as well as even prompt engineering or prompt misuse, right? How we are going to ensure that? So there needs to be certain architectural levels, so there needs to be certain gateways, right, which can further qualify. If someone is using certain abusive words or so, there are certain actions which are required. It may get quarantined or it may get into a different learning mode altogether. There are capabilities or the product requirements which are there in place. If such use cases or such attempts are identified, block the access itself, okay? Or there are certain workflows that can be generated while managing the model, per se. From cybersecurity point of view or cybersecurity monitoring, I'm seeing a lot of use cases, frankly. Governance, it can provide a lot of capabilities, specifically in compliance, reporting, monitoring, maintaining the documents, as well as getting the evidence as well on a regular basis. So on a lighter note, I was discussing with Sir earlier. So in fact, going for a regulator can come up with an agentic model as well. They can just put an agent in your environment and automatically they will get your compliance status. That can be filtered and managed by us. And risk assessment point of view, one important factor while managing AI and being adaptive, which is getting into adaptive mode, and maybe in future autonomous mode. So there is one Hindi idiom which says, "Jiski lathi uski bhains," right? So you need to have power and ability to control the model AI. Otherwise, there is second idiom as well, "Gayi bhains pani mein." So that may backfire as well in case you are not able to manage the same. Yep.
Yeah. Very well said, Vinay. So I personally believe that the framework, assessment framework is still evolving, given that this is a nascent field at this point of time. A lot of tools are also coming into the market. There is a lot of consolidation that's happening on the tools front. Right? Big security companies are in a buying spree just to bolster their portfolio. Right? So as CISOs and cybersecurity practitioners, I think we should be on a watch out and also constantly evaluate these tools coming into the market and see which one fits your needs, your organization's needs. Moving on, this is from a malicious angle, right? So generative AI is a shot in the arm for everyone, right? Including the bad guys. So how do we, in this age, when malware is being crafted so meticulously, and gone are those days where phishing emails had typos, errors and stuff like that, right? These spear phishing emails are very crisp, clear and targeted these days, right? So it is very obvious that even the script kiddies are very good these days with the enablement of generative AI behind their back. So how as defenders, cyber defenders, how can we defend ourselves, right? And if not, because we are in the business of defending, right? We can never retaliate. So how can we defend ourselves? So Professor, this I may start with you.
Thank you, Ben. Very, very interesting question. So in short, he's asking whether Gen AI is a friend or a foe. Okay, so this question has been asked in many other technologies also. So for nuclear fission and fusion and so on. Is it for the bomb or is it for energy? Okay, so the science is the same, the phenomenon is the same, so use and misuse. So the same thing we have heard in many other areas also. So the main root cause, before I address Gen AI, is that even well before Gen AI, there is an asymmetry. Defense and offense are never equal players. A defender, we have heard, has to find one hole and then he's in. And like he said, if you don't have further behavioral ways to check and control which Gen AI allows, he can do any exploits. Whereas the defender has to plug every hole in the perimeter, the moat and earlier defense. And if there's any one place which is vulnerable, the offender is in. So the asymmetry was always there. Has Gen AI made it worse? So if you want, again, more analogies to make it understand, earlier they had an axe to cut trees. Now they have a chainsaw. Not only chainsaw, they have drones. They have everything that why? Because like he said, for example, for phishing mails, it is not a standard mail which everybody sent the same mail. It knows from your Facebook account or your other account who's that your sister is living in Nagpur. So the mail starts by saying, I met your sister, she told me to say hi. So the person who's receiving the mail, obviously the trust is much more. And this handcrafted mail, not handcrafted, Gen AI crafted mail is again very easy. And the other part about offenders is that just like we heard of infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, there is also crime as a service. So the dark web is there, and at a reasonably low cost, people are able to collaborate much more than the defenders. The asymmetry is there also. So Gen AI has indeed made life very difficult. Deep fakes. Even our finance minister was mentioning in her inaugural address today. She has seen videos of herself saying things which is shocking. But when people see it, they believe. And they think it's a government's policy, or it can have disastrous consequences. So these videos are not costly to make at all. You can generate such deep fakes at a very low cost. So it looks like the defender is winning. And if you are going to defend this with a policeman standing with a lathi and the guy coming with a Sten gun, it's not possible. So defense also needs Gen AI. And the good part is that it is also coming up with techniques to sort out a lot of these problems. For instance, if you, before I go to the techniques of Gen AI and the costly, complicated ones, we should also have this example in mind. It seems when the spaceships were launched, they wanted to know how to write letters. I don't know why they wanted to do it in the spacecraft, don't ask me. So the Americans spent millions of dollars researching how the pen and the ink can flow properly and so on. The Russians didn't have that much money, so what they did, they gave their astronauts a pencil and said, write with the pencil. So there was no question of this flowing. Similarly, just to tell you, the finance minister mentioned these two things. I don't think she mentioned the Reserve Bank initiative, that all our banks are going to have a domain name @bank.in. So you have raised the bar now for the attacker. It can still cause problems, but similarly, it seems NPCI and SEBI have come with a handle @valid something. When you want to do payments to market players and so on and so forth, the UPI handle has a way that you cannot easily trick people. Provided this, so there are low-cost measures which raise the bar for attackers also. In phishing emails, there are sentiment analysis, tone shifts. AI programs can now read a mail and detect that it is asking for something which is not normal. It is asking you to click, it is asking you to do something, the tone has changed. Even with all the personalization, the only way to flag it as not spam. Spam flagging was much, AI was there. We were doing some word count, uppercase, lowercase, very static features were being used to classify mail as spam or non-spam. Now NLP and Gen AI is going to be much more sophisticated. And then all we are doing is raising the bar. We are not saying that attacker is not facilitated by Gen AI, but we can raise the bar. Similarly in behavior, Deepak mentioned this. 2-factor authentication, multi-factor, 10-factor, all that is older technology. Now, in addition to all that, it is zero trust. Every transaction you have to say, is it a risk-free? Is it something normal behavior or abnormal behavior? If somebody in a hostel in IIT is accessing the grade server in the middle of the night, something is wrong, okay? In the daytime, he may be checking his grades, but in the night, if something with different access, anyway, I'm just giving an example. So unless the credentials are not enough to check whether the user is right or wrong, the behavior itself, applications have to be security aware. And we have to know what is the withdrawal pattern for a particular user. And if he starts withdrawing amounts more than that because of digital arrest or some other social engineering which Gen AI has made, then the defender also has to use increasingly sophisticated techniques which Gen AI is capable of. And it is there everywhere. And so I'll end with this word that came up a couple of times. Gen AI is able to do not just predictive, but prescriptive. It is able to say that this is going to happen, and if you don't want this to happen, do this, turn this off, turn that. It's not yet on the ground deployed, but this is where we are heading. And with this, we may be able to balance the asymmetry a bit.
Sure. Thank you, Professor. It will always remain an asymmetry because for them, they just need one hit, right? Whereas for us, we need to cover all the hits. Right, so it's a continuing conundrum even with Gen AI. Since we are running out of time,
Here, when we are talking about this defense and offense, and now I will compare with the regular warfare. There are defense intelligence organizations, there are offensive intelligence organizations. We have to work like offensive intelligence organization. We have to create a hole in others. And how they do that, how Mossad do that, how MI6 do that. They analyze the behavior of others. So recently in our Sachet, IB card is there, what we are doing, in dark web we monitor what is happening, what they are talking, what file they are analyzing, how they are analyzing, and what is their output. So it gives certain clue, may not be certain 100% true, but where the world is going, what the adversaries are doing. So this adversarial analysis we have to build in, reverse engineering through AI we have to build in, and all these things because we have to do it at a very fast speed. Because just if you have not, Gen AI or Chat GPT came in December 2022, and January, February 2023, when used to ask certain question, it say information is available up to this date. Now it doesn't say that. Because from ChatGPT is going to net to others, so this is chain of command has increased exponentially, like Agent AI, Agentic AI, power, network of Agent AI, Internet of Agent AI, all these things is becoming so powerful that it's a high time that we also maintain matching, not only defensive, but offensive infrastructure also to protect this. Thank you.
Since we are running out of time, audience, yeah, probably one question from the audience, one or two. Yeah. Sanjana is very generous.
My question is to Dr. Deepak. What are the initiatives taken to spread awareness among the public, on cyber defense and cyber security?
This awareness has to be based on hygiene. And first, hygiene has to be improved. That's why this even RBI awareness campaign is based on don't do this, don't do that. But people, or any, for that matter, in any generation, irrespective of generation, when something is told that don't do that, people try to explore that. So that's and hygiene, I will say that all the infrastructure, whatever we have put in cyber security, all this PIM, PAM, DAM, everything. But firewall level, changes can be made by just command line. That's again, it's not, I'm talking just out of dark web, but it's some of the major banks observation. Right? So we have to see and improve that hygiene, and that's why dot banking is come. Almost 300 banks has already done. So different stages from education point of view at a banker side is being done. RBI is taking care, METI is taking care of the general public awareness. CERTIN is active on that. Thank you.
So the AI is in twofold, the way we are looking into today. One is consumer, other one is creator. So consumer is what we were talking about, somebody is misusing GenAI, whatever it is. Creator is what the free framework is, clearly telling about transparency, how do we have it, all of them, right? So when we go into corporate, as this is going to be incorporated, because now RBI and even NPCA to an extent, we always tell that the frameworks on controls to come in, to tell about if you are using, this is all I would look for. So can free be taken as a framework which can be used for validating, or is there anything in pipeline you are bringing it out? Because see, it becomes very difficult, as you rightly mentioned, right? Like each department want to put it in so that they can generate revenue. So as CISOs, we also have to ensure that that is not misused in the 3 layers. You mentioned about data, model, and AI. Any one of those layers, any one of the breach or any one of the poisoning, it may in adverse effect. So now today, frameworks are also evolving, but already the adoption is in rapid. So do we have anything in pipeline where, like free is a good way to start, I will look into. Is there anything in pipeline, just want to ask, so that we know that we're already creating it secure. So if there is something is in the pipeline.
Yeah, you are from some fintech company?
Yeah, I'm from M2P Fintech.
Yeah, that's right, because see, here again, basic requirement is consolidate the effort in a particular direction. We have to see what we have to do and access first. So when I said that security for AI is the first, by AI second, with AI third. So again, when you say that the GRC framework for different sector, be it customer oriented, be it for cyber security, be it for treasury in bank, these are all having different requirements. So we have to prioritize, and we think that it should start with cyber security and info security. And for that, IDRBT with association with others and all that, we are trying to move. But making a common framework at this point of time, I think it is not mature enough, and we have to interact much more because, see, innovative idea has to come. And that's RBI report also say innovation with restraint. So that's what we have to keep in mind and prioritization. Thank you.
Just wanted to add on this specifically. So there are certain standards which are already there in place. For example, 42001 itself, it raises a governance as well as responsible AI requirements. Apart from that, testing of codes and all. OWASP guidelines are there specifically for testing AI integrations and models. You can go ahead with that as well. No doubt, free gives a lot of visibility or very high level governance structure what requires to be there. As you rightly said, implementing that will take some time, some level of maturity which is required. But if we are able to achieve that pace, that will be the next level of maturity, actually, a high level of maturity. That's all.
Maybe I'll close with just one line. It's not just the maturity word I want to pick up on. Inherent difficulty, AI is not explainable. The people who are building AI solutions also cannot make it explain why it is taking a decision. And therefore, until that rigor comes in the architecture of the AI applications, specifying how to test it is even harder. I'll stop there.
It is, I think, widely understood that there is a problem. People are aware that koi link nahi karna hai. And if I use my wisdom of my dadi, 50 years back, she used to say that शिकारी आएगा, जाल बिछाएगा, दाना डालेगा, लोभ से फंसना मत. लेकिन जब मैं देखता हूँ, every day, highly qualified people are getting, lured by all such link and all that, and they are getting duped. What is this? How this is happening? I just wanted to understand this from a layman's perspective.
So I can add in reference to how this is happening. So fear and greed. These are two emotions which are exploited by people. Until human beings are there, and now even AI will join us, okay, so it will become difficult for us. If we are able to control these two emotions, I think we should be able to reduce such kind of instances.
So here we have coined one word, gift. Greed, impulse, fear and threat. This explains not only human behavior, but human Gen AI also will be explained through this.
Yes, impulse.
Yes.
So we can take one last question. Anyone? So, all right, thank you so much for an engaging and encouraging session. I would request you to kindly stand for the group picture. Thank you, everyone.